Miss Mims. How are you today?
I'm great, Auntie. How are you? How are
I'm
you?
pretty good, pretty good. It's a nice, beautiful day today. Well, actually, it just rained. I was gonna say it's a beautiful day, but then I realized it just rained. I had to kick my animals out of this room because the dog gets a little anxious, and I didn't want the audience to listen to him whining because it's raining, not thundering. It's just raining, and that already starts his anxiety. And yeah, we're waiting for the pill to kick in.
So something has been in the news, and
Yo,
and
okay.
and I have wanted to say something controversial yet brave
Whoa.
on what's been happening in the news. I would just like to say that I do, in fact, stand a Subway tuna fish sandwich. I just want people to know that with
There's a lot.
lettuce, tomato, pickle, and mayonnaise, I don't care if it's real tuna or not.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people that were about to listen to your hot take, and they were really hoping for other things, and they got real mad just now. So I too, I am in the same boat as you. I too am a. I don't really, as long as it is a fish of some kind, I don't really care what kind of fish it is.
Uh huh.
Um, it's so funny too, right? If you think about it, if Subway just called it our fish sandwich, everybody, I mean, think about McDonald's, right? Think about all the places that have filet of fish. Nobody knows what they are. Nobody cares what they are. They're just filet of fish. So I just, I don't understand.
You know, but the thing is, so it's actually kind of interesting. I don't know if you actually heard about the New York Times gathered like 10 pounds of sandwiches and sent them out to be tested
Okay.
from all over New York City just to see if it was actually tuna. They said that the lab that tested it said they could not find any discernible tuna DNA in the tuna. However, Inside Edition did the same thing, and there was definitely tuna in it. So the place that the lab that did it said, well, it could just be it's been so processed we can't get any DNA out of it.
Now, to me, that sounds more likely the actual answer to the question.
Doesn't it though? Doesn't it?
I
It
mean,
really
it's I
does.
that's the thing though, right? Like, I mean, let's not be crappy. And this is the thing. I am a person who I like to try to be healthy as best I can. But let's be super honest here for a moment. If you're going to any of the fast food places, do you really care that much about almost any of these details? Honestly, I remember when Wendy's did their big thing and they were like, our stuff's never frozen. Well, great. I'm so happy that you guys don't do that technology. I didn't real I just
And then
stuff like
what
that.
their asses didn't their asses get in trouble for selling horse meat too?
Y'all.
Yeah, yeah,
It's not
yeah,
frozen horse meat apparently,
yeah.
but it's horse meat.
So I have a question for you
Yes.
as a drag queen. As a
Oh,
drag queen. So this is a product from Revolution Beauty. Okay.
revolution.
So do
Yes.
you know what the difference between, and this just ask you, an eyeshadow and a pressed pigment is?
Eyeshadow and pressed pigment. So the way that I understand them,
Uh-huh.
um, is that the difference is in the application. So eyeshadow, they are of the consistency that you can actually paint it on your lid, like dryly paint. And pressed powder is the kind that you actually have to like pat to build up a layer.
So you're wrong.
Oh,
Um
okay. I don't know.
anytime you see something labeled pressed pigment, okay?
Yes, yes.
It has not been approved by the FDA's to go in your eyes. So a lot of these have like eyeshadows versus pressed pigment. In other countries, they are perfectly allowed. Other countries have far less regulation on us than us. So yeah, if you ever see pressed pigment or pigment, it contains something or another that the FDA has said no, 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 that's not to be used by their eyes. If you look at some of these palettes, are you frozen or are you just a gag?
I'm just a gag right now.
Yeah, like
That's the
if you look at this Revolution Beauty palette, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 out of 18 colors are actually pressed pigments instead of eyeshadows.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
all right.
yeah, you. Now, what does that mean? It means that basically, if something happens to your eyes, that the company doesn't like is off the hook because they told
Oh,
you
that's
not to use it on your eye. Besides that, pressed pigments can cause some dyeing. Like they can actually like dye your skin a little
yeah.
bit more.
I've had
Um,
that happen.
but they may be dangerous, but we're drag queens. It doesn't really matter. I did not say that, and the FDA, you know what? It does absolutely matter. United States, or yes, U.S. law, you should not use them near your eyes.
I,
Speaking of things that you should not let near your eyes. Do you want to get into this episode?
you mean the pilot episodes? As soon as it started, I had like your little words resonating in my head, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is clearly the actual pilot for Designing Women."
So let's
Like,
start with episode 15. And
it's
justice
I mean, it's not.
for Paul.
I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. I'm Julia Sugarbakers. And that's Marjorie. Just so you will know, and your children will someday know, is the night the light went out in Georgia. The light went out, the light went out, the light went out, the light went out. And that is the night the light went out in Georgia.
I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Well, now you do.
It's not a terrible episode, but like clearly it's almost like somebody like hit a restart button and you're like, wait, what's happening right now?
Yeah, like it was. We got through it. My husband and I were like, "This was the pilot, right? This was the pilot," because there's some things that we'll get into that the characters aren't completely fleshed out.
They're broke again somehow. They're broke and like barely able to afford their payments. Like
their set designs off. But let's get in the episode. Let's get in the episode. Let's get in the episode. So
it was a lot.
When did this originally come out, Maim? This is your little thing.
Oh, I forgot to write down the date.
Well, Jesus.
Just
you have two jobs. One is the date, and one is to be witty.
I love. Well, I mean, I can barely get through one. So hold on. I can tell you in just a quick second. Episode 15. It was February. Really? Yeah, clearly this was a filler pilot. Like they put in that pilot because like this should have been some kind of Valentine's. It was February 15th, 1987. Clearly this was like a filler episode.
Yeah. So we're at Sugarbakers, and that damn chair is back. The chair that had disappeared from the first 3 episodes. It's shorter, but it's back. So what it tells me is that they put Charlene in that chair, they screen test it. No, we want a bigger chair. And then
it makes it look like a monster.
We want it
so
small again. And
it's
now
so
they
small.
finally got rid of it.
It's so small, it makes her look like an actual monster. Like when I saw her in that chair, I was like, this is like the giant's wife in Jack and the Beanstalk. Like I literally was like, whoa, because you've seen all the pictures from the 80s. Those chairs never look like that small. And they just happen to put her in like probably a child's version of that chair for pictures. And oy vey, it was a lot. And we do get a little, I guess this was also when they were testing whether or not Charlene was going to be obsessed with Elvis instead of Jerry Lee Lewis because
That's true.
Yes, right. So I don't know why we went. I think I would have preferred. I mean, they're both problematic, but at least like I guess Jerry Lee Lewis was still alive.
So interesting thing about Elvis's problematic stuff. Okay, Because a lot of the problematic stuff with Elvis is that he's seen as really ripping off and stealing black music, right?
Well, I was gonna say the fact that he married a 13-year-old girl, but sure, we can go there. Priscilla
Let's
Presley
save this whole discussion for a whole nother episode.
You know that Priscilla Presley was like 13 or 14 years
I
old.
did not know that she was 13 or 14 years old.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Well, dear listeners, we're going to save that one for later.
sorry,
Julia's
y'all,
having
miss-
an issue with the figures.
Yeah.
She
oh my
doesn't know
gosh.
what she's going to do. She's like, Charlene, when you worked for my husband, we had a profit, and I've got antebellum money in this. Like,
Yes. Once again, there's so many things on here that I was like, oh man, clearly this did not test well at first, and but they paid for the episode, so they got to pick it in somewhere. Because I. When she said I put it with exclamation marks on my notepad. I was like, wait a minute. Is this actually a thing that we're saying?
just as an aside, there's going to be lots of asides during this because this is an episode and we do not need to rush through it. I got a couple of the SpongeBob SquarePants things from Wet n Wild.
I saw those. I didn't see them in the store. Which store did you get those from?
Wetandwild.com.
Oh.
Look, if you spend like $30, it's free shipping.
That's a lot of makeup for Wet n Wild.
Yeah, it is. But I got the two kabuki brushes, which I feel a little racially uncomfortable. They're calling them kabuki brushes. But
I mean, it is a style of the brush. So I mean, you know,
the best one is the SpongeBob one. It's a little square brush that's bright yellow. If they feel really good.
Oh yeah, I love those kinds of brushes. They're actually really, really good.
They have a sparkle pre-spray that is very weird. It's got a lot of mica in it. I did not spray it on my face because I was like, this is gonna be weird. But I sprayed on my arm and I was like, oh. Mary Jo enters.
Oh man, Mary Jo looks like somehow an even more historic school marm. I don't really know where they keep finding this woman's clothing, but my gosh, this lady loves some lace, and she loves a doily pattern.
She's lost Miss Wagner's account. She went with Regency.
Not Regency.
Commercial! The worst time commercial I have ever seen.
It's my favorite though. It's my favorite because like when they say Regency like that, I genuinely felt like we should have probably cared who Regency was because that would have been a very like a good cliffhanger for a commercial break.
That would have been.
But who in the world is Regency? We have no idea.
They're back and they're not even talking about it. So we're back from commercial and they just completely. Suzanne enters in this blouse.
I loved it so much.
I know, right?
I loved it so much.
I know. It is fuchsia. Would you call it fuchsia or would you call it hot pink?
I would call it probably like a hibiscus.
Oh, that's a look at you, Miss Florida 1992.
I hate you right now.
A hibiscus.
Because that's like a hibiscus color. Like that's like when you see the color hibiscus in like paint stores and stuff like that. It's like that.
Yeah, it is. Which is funny because hibiscus flowers, mine's bright ass red.
I know it doesn't make but they come in.
It does actually make sense because have you ever had hibiscus tea?
Tea? I love it.
I love it too. Oh, with so much sugar, it'll rot your teeth. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh.
My hubby is that's one of my hubby's favorite teas in the world. So I actually should go get some of that today. Actually, maybe I should.
It's very good for your blood pressure.
Is it?
Supposedly.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I'll drink that while I eat my Big Mac. it works like that, right?
So I did notice something in this. And dear listeners, I apologize for this. This episode is, and I'm going to say this multiple times. Probably apologize multiple times. This episode is hard to get through. It is.
Girl, why are you apologizing? We already know season 5 is on its way at some point, so the audience might as well get ready for this stuff.
We have 2.5 years before that happens at the rate we're going.
I'm just saying, right? Like I'm just saying.
That's true. That's true.
We got some time. We got some time. We're building up our friendship.
Did you notice it on the set? The windows in the back of the set are open right now.
Yeah. I did notice that. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And you know what else though? Because actually the windows are what made me notice this more. It was that the windows made me notice that like the living room set was almost like a contemporary modern furniture, which is not on the rest of the show.
The stair rail is completely different. If you look at the other side of the kitchen, there's not that little side room where they had the it rained on. That little conversation, it's not there. There are windows. All of this points to it being the original pilot. The original pilot.
There's literally no other explanation for that. Like there's too many
I've got something to tell you.
Oh, what? What is it?
Suzanne got a new account.
No, she did not.
Yes,
Who is it with?
It's Bo. What's his last name? Starts with M. Mark. Bo. She got it for Bo.
I just wrote down Bo, and that they birdied together.
They did birdie together.
That's all I wrote down.
He's married. Suzanne only found that out after the third margarita. But Bo is cheap.
He's super cheap. He's super cheap.
But we aren't going to find out about that until after the next commercial break. Sorry.
Yep, another very strange commercial break, because kind of like in the middle of nowhere again. So when we come back from the commercial break, obviously, we haven't talked yet about Charlene's friend, right? And
we haven't gotten there yet.
No, I know. I said we're getting there now. Now that they're coming back from commercial break.
Right? But first, there's one important thing.
That's right.
Mary Jo comes in because she went over there. Apparently, Julia just doesn't work. Like right now in this iteration of Designing Women, Julia doesn't do anything but complain about money. She sends Mary Jo to do everything, and Mary Jo went over there, and apparently they want a lot of antiques for a maximum of $12,500.
Yep.
But Charlene's got a friend. Now you can go on to talk about Paul.
I mean, he is the reason that the episode is called what it's called, which, once again, that actually makes sense, too, because the name of this episode, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's putting an episode that is alluding to a male character as, like, that's just very not Designing Women, too, right. But they probably couldn't think of anything else to call it. So Charlene is not dating. I mean, she kind of makes it sound like they're just friends. But so she has this friend that he deals in antiques and estate sales and blah 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 blah. And she thinks
got very bad judgment of men.
Very bad, right?
But she's been watching Donahue, and she found out a tiger could change his spots.
Let me just say, dear listeners, when I tell you that the word Donahue triggered me so bad because Miss Mims and myself we were two old ladies even in the 80s, and we used to talk about Donahue like we knew what we were talking about.
Between Donahue and Sally Jesse. God. So
we were old people when we were children. We were old people.
So, dear listeners, I just thought I'd let you know that for those of you, well, I'm putting all of our podcasts on YouTube now, right? Yes. I've also got a playlist of all of like the culturally relevant things. Well, relevant being a loose word there that we discuss on here. So I will find a clip of Donahue and put it on there, so you can just witness what Donahue was like. He was an old white man who was the proto Oprah, very liberal, very liberal, huge,
So liberal.
Yeah, he spoke at NC State, which is my alma mater. NC State's graduation one year. They were like, "Why are you having this liberal man speak?" Like
At NC State, is NC State that? They're not that conservative.
they're a little conservative. Like it was the agriculture people who were like that.
Oh, the ag. Okay, never mind. I forgot you guys had the agricultural department.
Yeah, and yeah.
Boo.
Anyway, so Julia goes on and on about the money, and Suzanne says, "Well, you could sell your stocks or your diamond ring." And Julia's like, "No. We'll do this," which doesn't feel like Julia at all, does it? It feels like she, in every other episode, she feels like she's in it 200%.
I feel like, right? So now hear me out. I feel like when this pilot was put together, right? Julia's character was simply the straight person out of the four, right?
Yeah.
And Dixie Carter, unfortunately, was very limited in what they even let her do. And so she just had to make do with what she could, because honestly, like, if you think about the scripting, if you think about where the jokes were, if you think about who gets the most character, kind of like, things, even the little comment she made when she called Charlene Pretty Foxy, not Charlene, Suzanne, when she called her Pretty Foxy, right? Even there wasn't like the normal delivery of those kinds of jokes. It was kind of like, it was just not. And so I thought as I was like, oh yeah, I was like, this whole thing is just like she's a straight person in this entire equation. So it's really kind of weird to see that, though.
So they're going to go to Paul's at 10 o'clock
at night. 10 o'clock at night.
Anthony has some friends with a van who, and Meshack Taylor, I will give you props for this episode already.
Let's just say first, Meshack Taylor in this episode, because it actually doesn't make any sense, because they talk to him like we're getting to know him, right? His unfortunate incarceration and that like they kind of hinted to it based on him talking about the people this time. And so and I was like, yeah. So no, you're right. I mean,
here's another hot take. Maybe this was a screen test for Anthony. Like maybe this wasn't the pilot. Maybe this was a screen test for Anthony to see how he would work in, right?
Yeah, because we even got I don't want to give that up. Like, we even got like the Anthony, what voice later in the episode too.
I mean, that still doesn't explain the set. Like, the set was so weird. So weird. Or maybe CBS had already thought about canceling it. They started clearing out the set. They're like, well, we got to finish this episode. But, so they go to Paul's warehouse. It is full of beautiful antiques.
Like, okay, here's another controversial yet brave opinion. I personally, another reason why I think that this is a pilot is because this episode was super design focused, which, if you notice almost every episode before and after this episode, that is not something that almost ever comes up, even though it's about designers. Like, we don't do like, let's go look at the furniture, let's go to this, let's go, like, that's not even a thing. All we ever hear after this is like, we got to work with such and such who's real difficult, what's their budget? Oh, okay, that's it. That's all the designing we ever hear.
Or like Monette, I don't like the color red.
Oh my god.
You are gay boy hard for Monette, aren't you?
I love that character. I loved that character being. Up until the very end. Up until the very end, when she's like, "I have been Charlene." I was like, "What the heck just happened?"
So now, I think I forgot to say this last time about Monette. I got really strong Miss Scarlet from Clue vibes, like Leslie Ann Warren vibes from her. Like specifically Leslie Ann Warren, not Miss Scarlet, but Leslie Ann Warren.
Well, I mean, technically, Miss Scarlet was the same thing as Monette. I mean,
No.
But no, but seriously, like when this started happening and they were talking about the furniture and talking about all stuff, like although the setup for it is funny about what's about to happen next, I did think to myself, I was like, this is like too designy. Like I don't think that most audiences would have been like, oh, that whole scene could have been done in like half the time that happened. But it just I don't know. I just felt like
Mary Jo had to have her little thing about when she was waiting in the gas line in 1972. She knew that one day something or another, blah, 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 and it was the miracle, and they're all this great stuff, and it's the Sheik's, one of the Sheik's houses or something. A Sheik's house? What?
One of the Sheik's houses. One of the houses.
What?
Would a Sheik have a house in Atlanta? Is that a thing? A Sheik in Atlanta? Like,
so a lot of the. So here's something interesting. Several of the malls in America, are owned by a like the Sultan of Brunei.
Okay.
Yeah, but do they actually have? Why Atlanta? Why would anybody? Here's a question for you. Why would anybody of any brown persuasion willingly want to go to Atlanta in the 80s, especially if you speak Arabic?
Maybe they bought the place back in the 70s and they used it as a hub for lobbyists for Jimmy Carter.
That is a stretch, but I'll approve. So it's going to be $10K for everything, by the way.
10,000 for all of this? That seems almost questionably too little money for so much beautiful antique furniture.
But you know what? Paul's a real idiot because he takes a check.
I mean, back then, right? You only had like Visa, MasterCard. Discover wasn't around yet.
What was the one? The
Diners Club.
Diners Club.
I've made so many weird Diners Club jokes in my life, and everybody always looks at me like, "What?" It's like, I'm sorry, I'm an old person. I have an old person sense of humor. I'm sorry.
So, do you remember the SNL skit Checks? It's got Sandra Oh in it.
Oh no, I don't.
Oh! After this,
you're gonna
your
send
name
it to
goes
me.
Here. The amount goes here. The amount written goes here. You sign here. I'll have to send that to you. It is fantastic.
When is the last time I wrote a check? I just tried it.
I write one to my cleaners every time because they charge a fee if you use a credit card.
Oh.
Yeah, they charge like a $3 fee, and I'm like, well, so I had to order more checks.
I need to get a cleaner. That would be cool. That should be my next thing. Getting a cleaner.
Yeah. Don't let them go in your drag room, but every other thing, because you don't want them to straighten it. You don't want them to straighten it out, like
why would it?
If you're anything like me, you have disorganized organization. Like you got shit everywhere, but you know where it all is.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay. What is that? Hold on. Dear listeners, I'm sorry we're having a little aside as Paul gets ready to leave for Chicago. But what
on the red eye.
On the red eye, because he's got to make it for another sale. But what is that pink number behind you? The pink green number.
Yeah, so it was actually it's you and your eyesight. So a friend of mine.
Eyesight, it's right there.
Yeah, but you're colorblind.
Because
it's no, it's like lilac and gold.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that looks pink and green.
So a friend of mine, Noah.
I'm gonna take a picture and send it to you, and you tell me if it does not look pink and green to you.
Oh, wait, maybe we could turn this into the next like viral thing. Oh, that would be really great.
Okay. Okay.
So anyway, so a friend
you,
of mine.
you talk. I'm sending it to you over Facebook. Not sponsored, but girl, if Facebook wants to throw us those pennies, I am not going to say no.
A friend of mine, Noah, he's a local filmmaker, and he's doing this really cool film project about a transgender boxer, and so this is the boxing robe that they're going to be using.
Cool. Look. Can you look at Facebook right now and tell me what colors you see?
I still don't see the green.
But do you see? Pink?
I can see the pink, but I don't see the green.
The green sort of shows up in the belt mostly to me. The rest I see gold, but like the shadow of the belt.
No, I can see I can see with the way that your color is on your monitor, right?
Okay.
I can see how that would shift the color, because if you look at my skin complexion in the picture too, like I look like don't like my normal color, so I can see that.
No, you do not look like your normal milk latte.
Rich chocolatey caramel latte.
Just as another aside before we continue, as Suzanne chips a nail.
Yes, because she picked up a vase and she chipped a nail. Just picking up a vase. What?
So did you watch the first episode of Drag Race All Stars?
Yes, I did.
Did you watch both of them or just the first one?
I watched both of them.
I did not watch both of them. However, I forgot how much I love Yara Sofia. I just forgot. We were sitting there and it was like, I have not seen a drag queen this crazy in so long. I have not seen
they haven't had one
with that much personality in so long.
I mean, think about it, right? Yes.
No,
I was gonna say.
You go first, and I've got something else to say.
Oh my god! I was gonna say, if you think about it, it's because Yara Sofia represents a person who has all of the amazing things visually that we love about quality drag, but with a personality. We don't get that anymore. If a person like Yara Sofia came along now, they would also have an equally super wacky wardrobe that wasn't as elegant and refined and everything else. That doesn't exist anymore because they don't cast them like that anymore.
So I will say in the first episode, I'm going to say something very controversial yet brave.
Yeah,
it's only controversial yet brave for myself. Silky Nutmeg Ganache deserved to be in the top. It was boring. Like it fell apart at the end of the song. It was better than anything else they did. She deserved to be one of the top three.
So here's my hot take. I don't think, as long as we have European and Austro-Asian drag race from now on, I don't think the American drag race should ever do a talent portion because I think that we really have to reassess what the word talent means now, because between England and Australia and watching what those people did for their different kinds of talent, like an actual talent show, I really personally am like,
oh no, the cops are here.
Oh no. Yeah, but I thought all this was legal and on the up and up.
So they're being booked.
Just FYI, this was probably, let me make sure I'm getting my dates right. Because what's funny is that I feel like they were capitalizing. Yes, because Night Court was 1984. When this came out, 1984 Night Court had been into it about 2.5 seasons, so it was popular at this time. Yep. And I felt like this was almost like a little wink to like that whole like, hey, like we're gonna have some wacky situations, kind of like they have on Night Court on NBC.
Wacky situations.
Right. Except instead of the raspy voiced lady bailiff, we're gonna have a sassy Southern lady that's gonna be
Yeah.
talking junk back to Julia, and who somehow does not really talk the same kind of talk back to her that she normally does.
No, no. Like, it's very. Julia's just very upfront and in one lines, not like speeches. Like, you are treading on my constitutional rights. She sounds like a Republican. And I like right, like she doesn't sound like the Democrat she is in any other episode. She sounds like a Republican.
Oh man.
So Julia was being rude. Charlene said it's all a big mistake. Mary Jo said mommy's she's gonna have to tell her kids that mommy went to a pretty place behind bars to redecorate. Oh God. And they're like, how we ever survive in jail? None of us ever been in jail before. Charlene been to jail.
Yep.
Because she was with somebody who stole $600
worth of mood rings. Why did they spend so much time trying to date them? Like Mary Jo in the JFK reference and Charlene in the Elvis reference. It's almost like they're trying to make sure that we understand that like these ladies are of a certain age.
So then we who called Reese? Who called Reese? We're gonna play this whole game. Who called Reese?
Well, Suzanne definitely did not call Reese because she used her phone call to go tell them that she was not going to make her 11 a.m. body wave appointment.
Because one does not show up for a Mr. Picard body wave appointment because she'll never get one again. You know what? I did not Google what body wave was.
I thought that too. I was like, what in the world is body wave?
Let me Google it right now, dear listeners, while we're talking.
It's probably something they made up purely for the show, I bet.
Oh, no. It is a hairstyle. It is a hairstyle.
What?
It is, yeah, it is the long extensions that go blue, 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 blue.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's what that is? Oh,
yeah.
my God.
So it probably just meant that she was getting a perm.
Oh, wow. Could you imagine?
A big curler perm.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Suzanne would not look good in a perm. Oh, that would have been a nice, wacky episode if someone accidentally permed Suzanne's hair.
I know, right? Well, luckily, Charlene used her call to call Anthony and tell him to call Reese.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Because Julia had to cancel the check. Mary Jo had to call her kids. So she because Charlene did not want to sit in this place and like rot.
So another great little point here, right? Because we're talking about legal things. It's hilarious to me that Julia wrote a check for $10,000 to this gentleman, used her phone call to call the bank and cancel it, and yet somehow the police they're still like not thinking that these ladies got scammed. Like,
I know, right?
What?
Right. So Anthony arrives, and like they think he's Reese because he kind of lies his way through because he's uncomfortable around cops, but he's in a suit.
Yeah, he is. You know, a black man in a suit can get a long way.
They can.
Yeah, especially when they're doing a white voice.
Yeah, just ask OJ.
Whoa. I just know one day I'm going to run into him down here because he lives down here now. I just know I'm going to be doing some kind of event or I'm going to be at something and that man's going to show up. Because right now, I don't know what it is. Maybe because quarantine's over, but random like F-list celebrities have just been popping up in all of our spaces. Dennis Rodman has been to Lips like 3 times in the last month. Yeah. Like, for real. Like, my friends are taking pictures with him, like, and stuff. Like, he's just,
Why would they want to take pictures with him?
I don't know, honey. Why are you asking me that question? I'm barely a South Florida drag queen. I'm, I'm, I'm more like a South Florida drag comic. I'm not even like a drag queen almost completely here. So I don't even know. I guess because he's kind of used to be sort of maybe kind of famous, right? I
Ooh, I
mean,
found my Trixie Cosmetics lip gloss.
where do you mean you found it?
I
Where do
just
you,
looked over here and it was there. I just looked over and it was sitting there, and I did not know it was sitting there.
I found who's the lip gloss is it that I really like? So I really like Revlon's lip gloss a
Okay.
lot. Theirs is a really I mean, it's like a nice the consistency of it's nice and it actually has like a good little tint to it, but it's not like it doesn't look like I'm wearing lipstick. It's actually just like a nice little tint to your lips. It looks natural. Um for you probably would get like the poison apple one, I'm guessing. Yeah, you're so stupid. Why are you making that face? So okay, so guess
Hold on, poison apple. There we go. One more time.
so lo and behold, off camera, Anthony comes in and Anthony's like telling them, oh well, he tried to get Reese, but he couldn't get Reese, so he told them that he was part of the he was come to get the
say
lady.
which voice he used. He used his what voice?
Oh, well, if I say it, it's gonna just sound kind of ridiculous.
He
But
said he used his white voice.
his white guy voice, right? Anthony does his occasional white guy voice. You see, I like to talk like this because it's very unexpected for a black man to sound like this. And
Your
yeah,
voice
but it's
didn't
just
change.
shut up. I hate you. I was waiting for that. Oh, I was waiting for your retort just now. I was just talking to my mom about that yesterday. She was like,
What about what?
just how I sound just like my dad. And, who, dear listeners, you don't know my father, but my father's pretty much like a white Native American, like with a little bit of other race thrown in there. Yeah.
So then there's a phone call downstairs, and lo and behold, the real Reese calls.
Yes.
And they're like, he posted bail. Now, another thing that leads me to think this is the pilot. Hal Holbrook would have been all over this episode.
Oh, yeah.
He would have loved to have wandered in.
Oh, yeah.
And been like,
at this point, yeah. I thought it was funny too when they were like when Anthony calls himself Junior, and then he was like, my mother was of the darker persuasion, this new liberal South. Once again, that's another sign of that like the pilot tone to all of this.
Oh God. So I've got news.
What?
Paul was arrested in Chicago.
Oh, thank goodness. I hope that they can convict him somehow of all of these crimes.
Well, we've got to leave the jail and have two hookers who kind of look like Suzanne and Julia walk in.
Once again, that's kind of like, remember they also did the same thing on Golden Girls when they went to jail too?
Of course they did.
Yeah, because in the 80s,
every CBS sitcom.
Every 80s show had to have put people in jail talking to hookers. It was just a running, like,
right.
Every sitcom had that.
Wait, Julia didn't have a conversation with those hookers about how they're ruining their life and disgracing her? You are diminishing us.
Right? Could you imagine if she had started the speech there? Oh, wow. That would have been I mean, we literally just watched that episode, and she is now in jail with other sex workers, and somehow she didn't even say it. She didn't even bat an eyelash, like nothing. She was like,
No, guess they're hookers. It's only the fancy hookers she has a problem with.
Here's your one chance, fancy, don't let me down.
Okay, that's enough.
Sorry. Oh, that's right. That's right. Copyright. We unless Reba McEntire, if you would like to sponsor us. Reba McEntire, if you only understand, the two of us, these two drag queens, have been standing you from day one. If you want to sponsor our podcast, we would absolutely.
Or Reba, I would like to interject. If you would like us to review your show, if you review Reba, You can reach us at Mims
Ooh.
and Maim and throw us a check, and we'll definitely do it.
Oh my gosh, we would.
It doesn't even have to be that big of a check.
No, it doesn't. We're pretty easy and we're pretty cheap.
Yeah.
To be very honest with you.
That was my nickname in high school. Pretty easy and kind of cheap. So now we're back at Sugar Bakers.
Yes, and everybody's on edge right now. But why is everybody on edge?
Because they're going to testify. They're testifying, but people are calling and threatening them.
Oh no!
Oh
It's
yes.
So wait, that's almost like a pretty interesting switch of the dial if you think about it, because we just got finished with people threatening Anthony, but nobody's pointing out the irony of this situation. Maybe
I
because
wonder why
of
that is.
I don't know. It might. I don't know. It might.
So Charlene cannot. She just cannot testify.
No, it's her friend. She doesn't want to testify against her friend. It makes sense.
But there's the trial. The detective comes in. He's like, the trial is in fact set for tomorrow. We have no idea how much time has passed, right?
No.
It's got to be at least a month and a half.
Yeah.
But it's got to be forever.
I mean, it can't be just like the next day, because that would make no sense.
Right. So, the detective comes in and says, it's very brave of you putting yourselves in danger for doing this. What detective would ever say that? What detective would ever say that?
I mean, a detective that, I don't know.
It's real bad at his job.
Yeah. You don't really want to scare your people that are going to testify. No. That wouldn't make any sense, but somehow that's what we're doing.
So Mary Jo and Suzanne both decide not to testify.
Yeah, which, I mean, you know what? Mary Jo's got those kids to think about, and she doesn't want them being orphans. So it makes sense. And
Suzanne's just, Suzanne. So Julia will do it solo.
What a blessed noble woman she is.
It's true. So then we're on to the next day. Julia's talking to Miss Wagner on the phone. Apparently Mary Jo convinced her to do Weight Watchers.
Yes, it's beautiful. It's
I
beautiful.
know. Good job, Mary Jo, and the fat shaming.
Let's plug Weight Watchers for the
Yeah. Get them $5, them $5 Weight Watcher dollars. And Julia's getting ready to leave and testify. Enter Suzanne. She's going to testify.
What? Suzanne showed up?
Suzanne showed up because they have the same
that's...
mother, and she wants to be a good person.
That's
Wait,
beautiful.
Mary Jo showed up.
But her children.
But they were talking this morning, and she said to her kids, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah, I guess that's a JFK. Yeah, makes sense, kind of.
My grandmother's favorite president, because he was cute and Catholic.
My mom's favorite. Well, I mean, my mom's favorite president. It's every older black woman's favorite president at this point.
Well, besides Obama, who was her favorite president?
My mom really liked Jimmy Carter, to be very honest with you. She actually liked him. She never understood why people had so much hate for the guy. She was like, he was just trying
lust in his heart.
He had lust in his heart, and she was like, yeah. So, but yeah, so right now we're trying to hit the end of the episode because it kind of just ends, right?
Well, no, because Charlene's got to come in and say she's going to testify because she talked to Paul, and Paul threatened to list them as accomplices because he's an asshole.
Yeah, it's I feel like in the best way possible, I feel like Charlene, who is a sweetheart, the fact that this person had to threaten you because even though they have done really terrible things to you, but yeah, they threatened you and your friend. So okay, sure. Now we care.
Just as another aside before we get into did you like the episode and did you find a Miss Georgia World? Next Halloween, do not forget to go to any drugstore and get the Wet and Wild Fantasy Maker sponges. They're 3 times bigger than normal sponges.
Oh,
They're fantastic.
oh, okay. I'm down.
Yeah.
Down.
Anyway,
I like it.
and if you go the day after Halloween,
Yes.
they're like 50 cents.
Oh, that's true. Ah,
got
I like
3 of
that.
them. Anyway, did you find yourself a Miss Georgia World, Auntie Maim?
This is hard because there were a couple of people that I really liked. So obviously, I already stand Suzanne in her outfit in the beginning. But I actually loved that red and black piece that Julia wore before going to court.
Okay.
It had that really unusual black scalloped edge on it. I really love that a lot. So Julia's courtroom look was mine.
Okay. Mine was the scene where they're being threatened. Suzanne's orange tight blouse with that khaki skirt. I love that because it's not a color, it's just off from being a Halloween color, right? Like it's just a shade darker. You don't see that color orange very often. It looked
No.
fantastic on her, and a lot of people can't wear that color even, but she pulled
She
it the
could.
fuck off.
Yeah, she could. Yeah, there were actually, other than Mary Jo, there were a lot of really good outfits on this one.
And the blue dress she was wearing in the episode, Suzanne was wearing in the episode, was the same one that I liked in the Monette episode.
Oh, that's so funny. It
It
was.
was.
I
It
didn't even realize
was.
that.
Yes. Did
Even
you like this
Charlene's.
episode? I'm
Okay.
just ignoring Charlene's outfits. They weren't good.
I mean, actually, I was gonna say the very last outfit she wore when she's wearing black. I actually thought she looked quite lovely in that one. But
The black muumuu that looked like something she was going to get buried in? The funeral shawl?
I mean, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
Okay.
So, all right. So, okay. So, how do I put this? So,
It's either yes
well, no, because it's weird, right? So, when we're thinking about the context of this whole thing, right? The total context. If this had been the pilot, I think this would have been a great pilot, right? Like to
I
me,
agree.
versus the other pilot.
Yes.
I think this would have been a great pilot. But in the context of just placing it in the middle of the season the way they did, I did not like it. It made no sense. There was no kind of like continuity. It was nothing. It was literally none of it made any sense. And so for that reason, I have to unfortunately say I didn't like it in that way. Because yeah, it just didn't make any sense to me.
So I did not like it for that and for the fact that Charlene went through a rewrite. Like she was always bad with men. Like that stuck. But she
Yes.
was never this dumb. Like in
No.
nothing that we've seen has she been. She's been a little naive, but this is just plain dumb.
Like
Right.
dumb and not listening to her friends at all.
Right. Like and Julia is just a Republican. And Mary Jo is somehow meeker than what she is in the future. The only person who has a standout episode is Anthony,
Yeah.
because he's. It's like, was this supposed to be Anthony's show? Was this going to be a Anthony vehicle?
I felt like that because honestly, Anthony was between his two scenes. He actually had the most laughs and the most like character work in the whole thing. So I mean, it just didn't make any sense. This episode didn't make a lot of sense.
No. I would never like to watch this episode again. I can confidently say that I would never like to watch this episode again.
I would have to agree with that statement. This was not. Yeah, like I said, if this had been the very first one and it set up the to set up the series, I would have liked this better as a
Oh
setup
yeah.
than the
Oh,
original setup.
far better. Far better than that horrible 1980s pilot we watched.
Yeah.
Far better. Far better. But in the context of what we just watched with, I won't even say Monette. I'll go a couple back. What's the best episode we've watched so far?
So far,
Yeah.
oof.
Primmy, maybe?
I like Primy's character. I will say.
No, the one with the mother. The one with the mother.
Oh yeah,
When she's there for Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
That's probably the best episode so far.
because that's got everybody. That's got Anthony. It's got Bernice. It's got the yeah. It's got everybody. I would say
How
that would
much better would this episode have been had it have been Bernice that told them about this person? And like Bernice got them arrested.
right, because Bernice being an airhead, it would have made more sense. Like, oh, it's Bernice. She got she got hoodwinked by this this guy. That would have made so much more sense than just like
That would have been, and you would have had Bernice in there being Bernice, and she could have been the dumb one, not Charlene, but you would have felt bad for her because it's Bernice. Wow, I just made a much better episode.
yeah, because I just you actually exceeded anything that could have been. So yeah, I there was a lot. It was a lot.
Linda Bloodworth Thompson, you should have just,
Hired
stepped
the
out of
7-year-olds. Hired these 7-year-old boys to be your writers.
7-year-old real gay boys. These gay, because we were gay for a long time.
Actually, no, wait. So based on the time frame, I would be the 7-year-old boy. You would only be 6 still.
When was it?
February 87.
Oh yeah, I would have been 6.
You would have been still 6.
Taking me out of Miss Potts' kindergarten class. And no, this would be 6 going on 7. So this would be Miss Cook's first grade class. Yeah. And then putting me in a writer's room. This stinks. Why would you have Bernice in there? Bernice is so much better than this mess. Why is Julia committing a racism? Oh my God. Well, Maim, tell our dear listeners where the hell they can find you.
So, dear listeners, if you'd like to follow us on social media, you could follow myself at Auntie, Auntie.Maim. That's MAIM, like I'll kill someone, on the Instagram. And you can follow me at I'm Your Auntie Maim on Facebook. And you can also follow us on Instagram at Mims and Maim, so that you can get updates.
And you can also Twitter Mims and Maim. Patreon Mims and Maim. We still have 0 supporters. Let's see if we can change that. If you have any ideas of what you want from us, dear listeners, reach out to us on Twitter at Mims and Maim. If there's anything you want from our Patreon, like anything special you would want, we will give it to you up to a point, because prostitution is illegal.
I'm going to use that time to segment and say, ladies and gentlemen, and the audience and everything in between, we are launching an OnlyFans. No, we're not launching.
No, we're not. Please, are you? Huh? I mean, I'll direct one. Hey, put in over there. No, that's not there. That's the wrong hole.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, God. Anyway, you can find me at Divine Miss Mims on Twitter. I am somewhat active, but not so active that I have to have an STD test. So you can also find me on Divine Miss Mims at the Divine Miss Mims on Facebook. Not that I use it that often, but Twitter's the best way to find me. Also, Mims and Maim on YouTube. Find us, subscribe to us, like us, hug us. Just a reminder, we will have like a list of different tidbits from the web on there so you can keep up with our cultural references. Let's see here. Have I missed anything?
I think those are all of them. I think those are all of them.
Is there anything else? Do you want to give out your address? Maybe
No.
your...
No, I don't. No. No. No.
Can they see you anytime soon live anywhere? Is there any place live that you would like live?
Yeah, sure. If you're
Like
in
live. There we go.
Sure, if you're in South Florida. Next weekend, next Saturday, I'll be hosting the Laugh Your Yass Off queer comedy showcase at the pub in Wilton Manors, which is a little township inside of Fort Lauderdale. And yeah, and then I'm doing a
And then what were you saying? Sorry, I started laughing.
I don't know. I can't keep track of everything. I don't know what I'm doing.
You have your... This is your time to reach somewhere between 2 and 25 listeners. And maybe those that are in South Florida will come by and find you and ask you for your OnlyFans.
Yeah,
So, dear listeners, for those of you that
listeners.
don't know what OnlyFans is, it is a porn site where you pay for amateur porn. That I'm very pissed off at because now they require a face picture to join, like to subscribe to people.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, they require you to take a picture of your own face and a picture of your driver's license so they can verify your age.
Wow. That's
Oh!
yeah. Sorry. The person just came to pick up the robe. So
It was a crisis.
It was a crisis.
Oh my God.
I guess
All right.
on that note,
Join us next week for episode 16, Reese's Friend. Bye, girl.
bye, Henny.
Bye.